Hello, I am Lucille Portera from Shadow Creek High School, and in this video, I'm going to discuss my responses to the Tier 2 questions as part of my application to Alvin ISD's Future Administrators Academy. The Alvin ISD core belief that I can identify with is we believe teachers create a safe and engaging learning environment that fosters the success of each student. Aside from being a co-teacher, I have been a resource high school math teacher since I started working in Alvin ISD in 2016. It has always been my goal to provide a safe and engaging learning environment for my students. One thing that I have learned in a resource setting is that activities have to be engaging for students and at the same time meaningful and curriculum aligned. I can describe a recent classroom activity I did with my students when I have lived this core belief in my work. One of my objectives in my math models with applications class was about ratios and proportions. I thought, what else is a better way to engage growing teenagers through food? So in class, I started with a discussion as to who among them has been cooking. Students also share their family dynamics as far as food or cooking and safety procedures in the kitchen. I listed safety kitchen procedures for students to follow. I then divided the class into groups of 3. Each group discussed and decided a recipe with the 5 to 10 ingredients that they would be willing to cook. Based on that recipe, each group calculated on the amount of each ingredient that will be proportional to the number of people they will serve. For the groups that struggled with calculations, particularly with fractions, I provided them with real kitchen measurement tools. Once everyone nailed the ratio and proportion part of the recipe, I brought the ingredients for them. The culminating activity was each group get to cook the recipe they chose in our Shadow Creek High School kitchen, and then we ate it as the end part of it. For the part 2 question, I select Alvin ISD's academic performance goal, which states that student academic performance in state and national exams will reflect continuous improvement and excellence in learning. Emphasis will be placed on initiating strategies aimed at closing the achievement gap for at-risk, limited English proficient, special education, and economically disadvantaged students. The strategy that I propose to address this district goal as a campus leader in Alvin ISD is through the implementation of restorative justice practices. According to the Annual Academic Performance Report of Alvin ISD, in the 2017-18 school year, its special education determination status is needs assistance. In 2017-18, one of Shadow Creek High School's academic performance objectives is to increase the percentage of SPAD students meeting standards on EOC. However, based on review of disciplinary actions in 18-19 school year, 63% out of 63 out of 220 students with special needs were given in-school suspension. The implementation of restorative justice, RJ in SCHS, will foster healthy relationships and positive discipline among all stakeholders. The 4 P's of RJ are person, place, practice, and plan. Person means the way each individual interacts with others in the school community and how that interaction has an impact on relationships. Place, the environmental conditions and factors that affect how individuals interact with one another. Practice, opportunities for educators to prevent conflict, resolve challenges, and create chances for relationship growth. Plan, a school community's plan for making restorative practices a regular part of school culture. With healthy relationships, SCHS will have a safe academic environment where students can show academic progress and successes. The proposed activities or strategies under RJ will be: first, develop a common understanding of why RJ practices are being implemented. Second, create the foundational structures to RJ practices implementation. Third, develop a method of collecting and analyzing data. Fourth, training for both new and returning educators and staff. Fifth, establish restorative language and culture. And lastly, dissemination of the shift to restorative practices to families and students. I propose the following process for planning and implementation of RJ as follows. During the spring or summer months prior to the implementation year, all administrators will implement Task 1's benchmarks, create a behavior team, and create a team of committed teachers to implement Tier 1 strategies. During the first month of implementation, all administrators, behavior team, and at least 10 teachers will establish a new school climate through community building and trainings for families, educators, and students through following benchmarks in Task 4. Then, throughout the school year after the first month, the behavior team and at least 10 teachers will be training, relationship building, and data collection and analysis to follow through number 4's tasks and benchmarks. Then at the end of the year, all stakeholders reflect and look forward to how RP can be strengthened the following year by following the benchmarks in Task 6. And lastly, during the summer before the second year, there will be planning for the second year. Then, as part of the proposed evaluation process, we will compare data collected prior to the implementation and after the first year of implementation on ISS and RJ practices, and surveys given to teachers and staff and families, if possible to students. To end this presentation, I quote, "Without a means to assess shifts in school climate, district leaders will have no reliable way to gauge whether the reforms are helping or hurting school climate." That is from Max Eden. Max Eden is a senior fellow in Michigan Institute, and he conducted a research on school discipline reform and disorder based from the data he collected in New York City public schools from 2012 to 2016. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation, and I look forward to be part of the team.